So, hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Stefania Cesarano from Namis Technologies, and I'll be responsible for hosting this webinar today. Maybe let's wait for another 1-2 minutes. Yes, okay. Just waiting for other attendees. Meanwhile, I explain a little bit. Please engage in real-time discussions by typing your questions in the chat during the presentation, and stay tuned for the Q&A session after the presentation to have your questions addressed directly. If I'm unable to address all your questions within our allotted time due to the limitation, you can find a dedicated Q&A session on the Namis Academy website. Well, our topic today is 3 ways to the crisis out of recalls. I'm sure we will learn a lot from Stephanie on that topic, and I'm really interested in this. But first, Stephanie, who are you?
Hello, Stefania, and thank you and Alina very much for inviting me to today's presentation. It's been a pleasure, and I'm happy to be here. My name's Stephanie Weinand. I'm the General Manager of Recall Infolink GmbH, based in Munich, Germany, with a mother company, Recall Infolink Inc., based in Boise, Idaho, USA. We're a SaaS company, and our service is to help and support our clients to manage and process their recall. And this takes me right to the beginning of my presentation. Let me share my screen with you. Here it is. Yeah, 3 ways to take the crisis out of recalls. So where we are today, recalls continue to increase, and that is because of numerous reasons. For example, new laws and regulations in different countries, or post-COVID, consumers ordering food online directly from a manufacturer or a huge sale distributor. So that causes a lot of more recalls, and having recalls increased, of course, also the financial and reputational burden increases. The costs are very high for a recall, and losing the trust of a consumer in your company, in your product, has unimaginable consequences for you. Well, it's best to have a proactive approach to overcome that crisis. And congratulations to all of you. You've taken the first approach by being here and listening to this presentation, which I'm very thankful for. And so if you, until this point, worried about a product recall crisis, you can put those fears at rest and listen to this presentation today. Losing a consumer's trust or experiencing brand reputation gone bad is the worst thing that can happen to a company. It is, however, very difficult to calculate that in regards of money. How much do you lose? How much does it cost your company? That is very difficult, specifically because you never know how long in the future this will still have an impact on your company. I've experienced the same thing personally, to be honest. There's a retailer not too far away from where I live. They had a recall and they carried it out very, very poorly, probably 10 or 15 years ago. And I have to admit, although I should know it better, but I'm still not going there. It's a long time, but I still don't trust that company. And this is just one of the examples. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only consumer who acts that way. The expenses of a reverse logistic efforts are very high. You can calculate those a lot better because there's, yeah, you calculate usually the costs that occur for your company to process food and to bring it to the shelves and to sell it to the consumer. And you don't really calculate the costs of reverse logistics. But that is something that is what we need to do when then there is a recall that we have to be aware of. And this is nothing people really want to do, but it occurs and it has to be taken care of. Costly time needs to be rebuilt, and also the possible brand collapse, which can lead to your company going out of business if things go dramatically wrong. But let me not just talk about it. Let me also put some numbers to my words. And so on the right side, I have some numbers I would like to share with you. So for Europe, over the last 12 months, recalls have increased by 14.8%, with an average cost of a recall of 10 million euros. Also, in the third quarter of 2023, contaminated recalls were up to 470, and recalls because of contaminated poultry increased to 69.4%. Those are huge numbers. And nailing it down a little bit further to Germany, that's where I got the information from the BVL website. And this is for 2022. Last year's numbers are not yet available. There were 311 government reported recalls taking place. And out of those 311, 35% were based on microbiological contamination. That is the biggest percentage. So let's talk about all of that today. And let me share with you my thoughts and my 3 ways out of this crisis. Number 1, create a recall plan that includes your whole supply chain. Number 2, use recall software to do a recall accurately and without human error. And number 3, practice a real-life recall simulation so that you and your team are prepared. And let's now start with number 1, create a recall plan that includes your supply chain. Yes, you need to be proactive communicating with your global supply chain if your company is global. And you need to start by building out a recall plan to empower your team to have the confidence in the tasks they were given and in the things they carry out, because they want to protect the consumers. And since supply chains are global, the consumers can be anywhere in the world. They can buy online all of the products that you're manufacturing, no matter where you are based. So it is essential to include that in your thinking, in your recall plan, that your food can travel anywhere in the world and be purchased, and can, if things go wrong, kill people or create a health hazard. And since you are not only communicating within your company, I mean, everyone has a recall solution. You need to have a recall solution. Mostly, however, those solutions are strictly internal ones. The supply chain, however, as I just said, covers the whole globe. And it doesn't go only from, for example, from a retailer to their point of sales. You need to inform everyone of your supply chain, and you need to make that in a accurate and fast way. So you need to establish clear expectations among stakeholders and suppliers along your supply chain. And this all is so that you can protect your consumers wherever they are located. And of course, by doing so, you want to establish the trust in your brand. You want to make sure that everything goes right and product is taken off the shelves as fast and as complete as possible. But let me not just talk about this to you. Let me also give you an example, a case study of an actual client of ours. And this client, before using our service, had a very unique way of doing recalls. So, whenever one of their employees learned about a product needing to be recalled, they would literally, and I'm not kidding you, press a red button. When he did that, a siren would go off. And everyone in the company knew, oh, now we need to take action. There's a product recall. So then tasks would be handed out to people working there. Some would gather more detailed information, and some would call up the customers. This is, yeah, as I said, rather unique and not very effective way of handling a recall. So they became our client, and using our system, their time spent on recall efforts decreased by, or was just 1/10 of the time they had previously spent on those efforts. Their labor costs went down by 90%, and overall, the data was more accurate. I mean, imagine being in this company and calling up your customers, sharing information, sharing data. And I mean, we all know from our own experiences, being on the phone, talking to someone, the connection might be poor. There might be a lot of background noises, or when you are dealing with sensitive data, you want to get the numbers right, you want to get the information, the instructions right, and you don't want the other person having to come back to you constantly saying, sorry, what did you say? I didn't get that, can you please repeat? So you want to make sure whatever data you're communicating is accurate, is complete, and most importantly of all, is understood. So that is all been taken care of now for our client, and all of that works just perfectly. Number 2, use recall software to do a recall accurately and without human error. I don't know how it is in Switzerland or any other countries of people attending this webinar. I do know, though, that in Germany, digitalization, well, let's put it that way. There's lots of room for improvement, and this is surprising still, but that's how we are, and we're getting there eventually. I'm sure about that. But there are digital processes, and it makes a ton of sense to make use of those, and to change the system, because digital processes make your way of dealing with recalls way faster, accurate, and more efficient. There are tech platforms that you probably haven't heard of, but starting today, you are better informed, you know at least about our service, and you can take advantage of that. Like sending out notifications. This is what our system does. We send out escalating notifications, starting with emails, followed by phone calls, SMS text messages, and yes, believe it or not, still fax communication is a thing. And not only do you want to send out those notifications, you want to let your customers know about the recall, give the right data, tell them what to do. But also, do you want to know how they responded? Have they received the email, the phone call, the message? Did they receive everything? Have they acknowledged it? Have they acted according to your requests? How many of the products have they taken off the shelves, or have they destroyed, sent back? Were there reimbursement claims? All of those information is very easily to be tracked if you use a digital solution and have your tech platform for all of that. And you have reports that are being generated automatically on such a platform for you. So you meet all the compliance requirements in a very, very short time, because digital solutions just do that automatically. and you have you fulfill all the needs. For example, when an unannounced audit comes to your company, you can very easily satisfy the needs of that auditor. And I'll have another example for you, and it's the same client of ours, believe it or not. They had challenges previously before becoming our client, because not only did they use the siren approach, they also, of course, handled everything manually. So they would write reports on papers, they would put those papers in files. But then when an unannounced audit would take place, it was just a mess. Everyone was looking for those papers, for those documents. And you can probably imagine how difficult it can be to grab the right file, to find the right document. I mean, you have a lot of recalls or a lot of recall simulations. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge, it's stressful, and it's not what you want to experience. And of course, you do not want to annoy the auditor by having to wait for you and your team to find the right documents to show to that person. So they were really happy with our solution because our system generates those reports automatically. And so, yeah, their compliance rates was 3 times better. They had 2 times a higher rate of actions taken. And of course, their records were complete on demand. All they needed to do when the auditor was visiting was log into the system and go to the reports and either generate an individual customized report based on the needs and requests from the auditor, or go back to the already generated reports from the system and either print it out or attach it to an email and send it to the auditor. So things have become real easy and were easy accessible. All the data was easy accessible, and reports were sent out and generated very fast, probably up to, let's say, 5 minutes from logging in to having that report in your hands. So that's a huge amount of time saved. Number 3, practice a real-life recall simulation so that you and your team are prepared. I'm sure you know that from your own experience. If you want to learn a new language or an instrument, whatever it is you want to achieve, you need to train. Otherwise, you're not getting there. The more you train, the better you become. So same for recalls. You need to practice and you need to do recall simulations. And although this is a modernized approach to recall simulations, we have to start at the same basis as every practice, of course. First of all, we need to generate a real life scenario. We need to think about the products that need to be recalled, the reasons why they need to be recalled, and what we would like the ones who received the information to do with the products, donate them, destroy them, send them back, whatever it is we put in that recall scenario. So it makes, of course, a ton of sense to train your team because they are the ones who need to take care of the recall, who need to carry it out. However, it makes just as much sense to include your customers along the supply chain. Not only does it show that you care, that your company is prepared, it also helps your customers prepare with you. They know they get the information they need in a way that they need to see them. And they know, okay, we can trust those data. They can practice themselves on how to forward that information to their, let's say, point of sales when they're a retailer. But also they get to practice how to respond back. So they know where to put in the data. And everything will go straight back to your company. And that also is an extra training, has an extra training effect on your team because now they know, okay, the data has been reported back, but now what do we with that? And they can practice to handle that data and know exactly how to move forward from that point on. And so with this one practice or recall simulation, everyone along the supply chain, and of course, most importantly, your team, is confident, knows what to do. And I mean, recalls, let's be honest, are always a stressful situation, but they don't have to turn into crisis. And after you've done this recall simulation, of course, you need to evaluate on how your team performed. You need to make sure that those gaps that might have come up are closed for the next time you do a recall simulation. And we recommend to do it at least twice a year, so that everyone on the team is prepared. And yeah, you can work on that. You can figure out better ways, and you can help your team be even more confident and feel good about what it is they're doing, and help them perform best when protecting your consumers and your brand, of course. Again, our client was already improving lots by using our service, and by practicing. Yeah, they were 10 times more efficient in their processes. It took them about 5 minutes to train the responders, which means their customers, because they responded back, and the support rate went down to 0.01%. And that is just amazing. All of what I just told you leads up to becoming a part in a recall ready community. If you do that, you can protect your consumers globally, no matter where they're located and where they purchase their product from, which of course leads to brand reputation, which will be saved and then even supported and grow, because consumers these days put a lot of their experience on social media, and once it's out there, it's really impossible to get it off the internet. And so having a good review is priceless, but having a bad one out there, it's almost impossible to turn that into a good one. You save time and money, and you can focus on moving forward. You have your whole supply chain covered, and everything has become one global recall ready community. And let me assure you that Recall InfoLink meets all of the needs of the entire supply chain by connecting and empowering you no matter what. We're here for you along the way, and yeah, support you. So thank you very much. This has been the presentation, and I think it's time now for the Q&A part. However, if you need my contact information, if you want to reach out to learn even more and more detailed, of course, tailored to your specific needs and requirements, here's my contact information, but I'm sure Stefania and Alina will hand out my presentation to you afterwards. And yeah, let's get back to Stefania and the questions you have put in the chat in the meantime. Thank you very much.
Stephanie, thank you very much. Interesting. Now I have so many questions on my side. I'm waiting also for some others. But first, you were always talking about a team, a recall team. Is that right? And who includes what should, which people should be there in this team?
Well, that depends on, first of all, the size of the company, I would say. So you have a quality safety team, you have a quality manager, and depending on how many people a company has in that department, usually I would say everyone who's part of the quality team should be in that recall team, especially because you never know who's on vacation or maternity leave, whatever can happen, you name it, and it probably will happen. So you want to make sure that everyone on the team is prepared and knows what to do in case a recall happens.
Mhm. Is there also possibilities of kind of a communication manager or also IT being involved?
Well, actually, if you have a digital solution like ours, you don't really need IT to be involved that much. I mean, there are specific details like API connectivity, stuff like that. But in general, this is nothing that needs to be implemented into your computer system. What you would get using our service is an account where you can log in and you manage your account with our support, of course, but it is you who manages it. So and it's really pretty much a no-brainer with great opportunities, but very easy to use. And there's an onboarding training, and so ongoing support. You can't go wrong with a solution like that.
Okay, and there is a question from Claudia. What are the three most common mistakes during a recall situation?
Um, well, probably based on panic or not being trained enough. Um, so I would say getting the right information. I mean, not having a typo or some change in numbers or missing out on numbers. The communication part is really important to have accurate data um, that goes out to the one who needs to see them, to your responder or your customer, so to say. This is, I would say, the biggest mistake if you have any challenges in your information that you spread. Um, Other than that, well, of course, you need to tell people what to do if you're not giving them the right information. Um, that can be a mistake. Um, of course, very basic, not reaching all of your customers, missing out on some, or informing those who haven't really received the product. Also being clear on why a product needs to be recalled. I mean, it makes a huge difference if it's an allergy problem, if it's contaminated, or if it's, we already seen that before in the past, that products needed to be recalled because the color of the product was not exactly the same. It was a nuance brighter or darker, and so people were expected to not buy it. So it's really important to tell your customers why you're recalling a product so that they can act accordingly.
Okay, thank you very much. You know, me myself, I have some experience in digitalization as I'm coming from the lab management. Question, data security. You're saying it's not integrated in some kind of ERP or a laboratory information system. Well, what about the security of the data? I mean, this is heavy what you are doing, or all the information they are getting in that software.
Absolutely. And I know that this is a very valid concern, and we take that very seriously because we know that this is sensitive data that we're dealing with. So we are GDPR compliant. We're very proud of that this has all been covered. And also the data is based, or it stays in Europe. We have an AWS account in Frankfurt. So nothing travels anywhere else. It stays in Europe. And it's, yeah, of course, all we can do is make sure, and this is the most important thing for our head of IT. He's very strict with security, data security, and kind of training all of us to always be careful in what we do and how we do it. So from internally, we take real good care of that. But other than that, of course, our clients, they usually, well, not usually, you need to have a CRM and ERP system to use a digital solution. And so you can either upload information to this one specific recall or recall simulation, or you use an API connectivity. And so this is how the data kind of gets transferred into your account using our platform. And all I can assure you is that we take it very, very seriously, and we do everything to protect your data. Of course, it can also kind of leak from within our client, him or herself. But when it comes to the system, to what we can do to protect sensitive data, we do everything to make that sure, because we know how important that is and how sensitive.
Yeah, you're really right. Thank you for that answering. I have more questions, Stephanie.
I'm not going anywhere.
We could talk a long, I know that, the whole day. About implementation. Well, a company just thinks now, great, calling Stephanie, we want this. How long does it take? I know it depends on the sizes of the sites and so on, but how long does it take implementation of this software?
To be honest, it more or less depends on the needs and requirements of our clients, I would say, and the size of the company, of course. I mean, if it's a huge global company, we honestly recommend to start small with a tryout, just maybe in one country, to see if we meet all the requirements, so that we can do adjustments. And that's easier if you start smaller rather than go with the complete company right from the beginning. Because if there is something you need to adjust here and there, that creates a lot of unnecessary challenges. So starting with a huge company, starting out small in one country maybe, is our recommended approach, and this is how we would do it. Other than that, it depends on if the system already itself is what our client needs and wants. Other than that, if there are, as I said, special needs, we would have to make adjustments. That could take a little bit, but altogether, if you sign up with us, I don't know, maybe longest 2-3 weeks, maybe, and that should do it. It's well, if everything, if you can use everything as it is and no adjustments, customization is needed, you can sign up and use it the same day, right? I mean, it's just you set up your account and you can get going. So this is really fast. It depends on how much adjustment or customization is needed. But other than that, you can sign up, log in, and get going.
Wow. Great. That sounds really great. So it doesn't, it's like this, that it's not you that you are implementing. It's some kind of just so easy that you can do it yourself.
Yes, we're a tech platform, and so
okay.
This is in the cloud. You get an account, you log in, and yeah, you can start. I mean, of course, you get 24/7 support. That is no problem. So if you sign up and if you want to get started and you come into a challenge and you're not quite sure how to move forward, you can always give me a call. I'll be there for you. The support team is there for you. We'll help you through. That is not a problem at all. But in general, this is how it works. Yeah, you sign up, you open up your account, and you can get started.
Okay, maybe I'm not sure if you can answer this question, and it's again me, digitalization. Is it possible to have some kind of a interface from other systems, other softwares like Lab, LIMS, for example, or also from the ERP? Did I understand it right? It's not only a standalone software.
Yes, it is a standalone software, but I mean, I'm not quite sure where you're aiming at. If you, for example, want to include testing results to a recall, that can be uploaded and that can be attached, no problem at all. You can add attachments to the communication. So you usually all you need are three things: the product that you're recalling, the people who received it, the companies who received it, and you need to give instructions about what to do with the product. And for all these three topics, you can attach documents, or whatever you want to attach, pictures. This is all doable. This is a little bit too much into detail, but this can all be attached, and using the same platform.
Okay. I want now also to use this. Okay. Feel free. Yes. We talk afterwards. Okay. Are there any other questions from the audience? Alina says no. Okay. I think I'm trying to get some closing keywords. Again, thanks you very much, Stephanie. It was really interesting. And I just wanted to say some kind of powerful words. If there is this kind of sentence I can say of recalls, I mean, in the world of food safety, clear communication during recalls is more than a procedure. It's what you said. It's the powerful force that builds trust. Trust is really important. It goes beyond protecting consumers. It upholds the very core of a brand's reputation, transparency and prompt correction actions, and reliability in these challenging times. It's all you said also in your slide, Stephanie. In the digital age, recalls go beyond products. Their narrative of responsibility deeply embedded in a brand's resilience and commitment to consumer safety. In the realm of food safety, the ability to recall is the mark of responsibility, and a robust recall process is the guardian of consumers' trust, ensuring swift action in the face of uncertainty, safeguarding the integrity of our food supply chain. I think this is the more than three ways to take the crisis out of recalls. And Stephanie, thanks again. From my side, Alina.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And couldn't have summarized it any better than you just did, Stefania. It is just, as in so many other things, doing a training and have your staff ready and prepared, be recall ready, have faith in what you're doing, and that's essential. That's what you need. And going digital also, a very, very important thing these days.
Great, thanks a lot. The recording will be on our website of Nemes Academy, and please look forward for the other webinars. We will see in 2 weeks' time, talking about bacteriophages with our product manager, Lukas Richter. Stephanie, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Stefania. Have a great day.
Bye to all.